Awareness is constant. Contents are changing.
Question. I have been seeing in experience that awareness is always present without effort, no searching necessary, and I appear in awareness rather than awareness appearing in me.
You are the awareness. The key is to see that the dualism implied in I and awareness is false. It is not you in awareness or awareness in you. You are that. That is the whole essence.
When thoughts and concepts are gone, I am still here and aware. There is no problem with that in experience. Then there is trying to stay in presence awareness and less in thought.
This brings in a false dualism. If you are awareness and the separate I is not, who should try to stay in awareness? Knock this concept out with a bit of clear seeing.
The pointer that is difficult to reconcile with my experience is that awareness and the contents of awareness are the same.
This is not really needed. This is only a concept that the mind is trying to reconcile, and it just stirs up the doubts. Make sure your identity is clear and that there are no doubts about that. The rest will become apparent on its own.
I feel awareness illuminates the outside world, but that seems different than saying that the world is awareness. I can reduce being to two, awareness and its contents.
The point is that you do not experience any content independent of awareness. That would be entirely speculative. It is not that the appearances are awareness. How could they be? Awareness is constant, non-objective, cognizant. Contents are changing, objective, insentient. Equating awareness and contents one for one is not possible. Contents are appearances of awareness. They have no substance or independent nature apart from awareness. So the awareness is what is real or substantial. The tried and true analogy is waves on the ocean. The waves are nothing but ocean water, but the ocean per se is not waves. Keep in mind, though, the key point in all of this is not to get lost analyzing appearances. It is to know yourself. Do not lose sight of this point.
All things are allowed without resistance. All things need awareness to come into being. But I am struggling with the point that awareness and the objects of awareness are one and the same.
Think over what I just said. That should clear things up. Allowing things is not the same as being things. There is a subtle concept in here. Who is allowing? Things are simply happening. It is not a matter of allowing them. That would bring in a subtle sense of separate self. Drop all references to the concept of separation and be what you are. That is perfect freedom and peace. The gateway to pure being.
You say being is the reality?
Words are pointers. In this context, being is being used as a pointer to final reality.
But is being or I amness not observed too?
Beingness, note the suffix ness, I amness, and consciousness are often used in reference to the first manifestation of pure being. Note that being and beingness are different. One is reality, the other is a quality, or the expression of reality.
Is being just a gateway to reality that is beyond being and non-being?
Being and non-being, consciousness and unconsciousness, etc., are dualities. As such, reality transcends and includes them. When I say being, I am generally referring to pure or non-dual being, meaning beyond the duality of being and non-being. Words are limited.
Nisargadatta Maharaj clearly made the point that we are not the concept I am, nor are we the non-conceptual I amness. He said the non-conceptual I amness brings us to the absolute, which I assume is pure awareness, which is everything.
Yes, pure awareness and pure being are pointers to non-dual reality, your natural state.
Yet being is observed and leaves us, whether in deep sleep or death?
Not true. Consciousness departs, as does knowing that I am. These are really the same thing. The awareness of being departs, but your actual existence remains. That is the absolute that is prior to consciousness. Do not just go by words. Make sure you see what is being pointed to by the words.
Are you just saying being is reality as a gateway, or what?
As stated, the experience of consciousness, of knowing that I am in duality or beingness, the experience of being, are the gateways. They are pointers to that which is prior. That which is prior, or always there, is usually termed as one of the following: pure awareness, pure consciousness, pure being, beyond being and non-being, your real nature, non-dual being or awareness, or the absolute. Note that knowing that you are comes and goes. In sleep you do not know that you are, but your real being is always there. That is always present and always aware. You even know the coming and going of consciousness. This is self-evident, but we tend to miss this point because we are always focused on objects. But even now, what we are is not an object, and the sense I am is the first manifestation of your pure being. This is also what Ramana Maharshi called the I thought. Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramana Maharshi recommended tracing this experiential I, or I amness, to its source. Therefore, it acts as a gateway to the reality that you truly are. Remember, you are that here and now. The pointers are only temporary devices to be used if this point is not clear. Now, getting to the root assumption. Your approach to observing the feeling as just a feeling, not a fact, is a step in the right direction. It's a practice of witnessing emotions without becoming entangled in them. Yet, the persistence of these feelings, despite such observations, highlights a deeper aspect of inquiry that might be missing. Feelings of impending doom or unexplained misery often arise from deeply ingrained patterns or unresolved aspects within us. These are not just random or baseless, they're signals, albeit in a very primal language. When good thoughts or rational counter-arguments don't seem to alleviate these feelings, it's an indication that the issue isn't at the level of the mind, where thoughts and rationalizations operate. It's deeper at the level of being. To go to the core of this, as you've asked, requires a shift from trying to change or counteract the feeling to fully allowing and understanding its source. This doesn't mean wallowing in it or accepting it as an unchangeable truth about your existence. Instead, it's about delving into the direct experience of the feeling without the intermediary of the mind's stories or labels. Ask yourself, who is the one aware of this feeling? This question turns your attention away from the content of the feeling, the doom, the fear, the anticipation of disaster, and towards the awareness that is perceiving it. This awareness, what you truly are, remains untouched by the feeling. It is like the sky, unblemished by the passing clouds, no matter how dark or heavy they seem. The realization that you are not the feeling, but the awareness in which the feeling arises and dissolves, brings a profound shift. It doesn't necessarily negate the feeling or prevent it from arising, but it changes your relationship with it. You see it as a phenomenon appearing within your vastness, not as a defining truth of your existence. Moreover, this direct seeing reveals that at your core there is a constant, unshakable peace and okayness, irrespective of the emotional storms that may pass. The truth that nothing is fundamentally wrong and that these feelings have no bearing on what you truly are is not found in the mind, but in the direct experience of your own awareness. Remember, this isn't a one-time realization, but a continual returning to awareness, a deepening of understanding and presence. Each moment of fear or doubt is another opportunity to return to this truth, to see again and again that you are the space in which all things arise and fall, untouched and whole. One thing to notice is that the feelings are driven by assumptions or concepts. Ideas can be just as powerful as events when it comes to our felt response to them. A key approach is to be clear on precisely what the ideas are claiming, so that you have some space to question them to see if they are true. That is not a complete solution, but it is a vital initial recognition. Once you get a sense of how these thoughts work, you can look a bit deeper at the core assumption at their root and see if that is really true. A bit of looking shows that all the thoughts are different labels and concepts about me, about who I am. There is a common theme running throughout all the patterns and concepts, which is that I am some limited person in the appearance of things who is subject to suffering and some horrible fate. Ultimately, this assumption needs to be looked at head on. The key is being very clear on the positive truth of what you actually are. That is the essence of it, because the notions of limitation and separation depend upon overlooking that aspect or being in some doubt about it. In the end, any limiting experience in life is only a call to know yourself. Make sure these points are clear and use them as the basis of any other understanding or looking. If who you are is not clear, any other looking will be colored by that perspective. That is why most spiritual practices and approaches fail to deliver lasting freedom. The assumptions we take into them often hamstring the results. When the basic sense of what we are is clear, we can look at concepts, even the root I concept, and see them as untrue based on our own clear sense of who we truly are. Concepts come and go, but you remain as you are.
Question. I am just coming to the end of your book, The Light Behind Consciousness, which is beautifully clear. There seems to be a clearer recognition now of my true nature. The simple fact that I am present and aware right now is recognized, but I still have nagging thoughts regarding the inquiry into the I. In the investigation, the mind will not leave alone the notion that the body is related to the I. Upon looking for this phantom I, the body is seen and is related to as my I. I am failing to see the falsity of this, and so the suffering appears as related to something very real. I know I am making this too complicated, but I cannot see past the idea that I am this body.
To see yourself as the pure, simple being and knowing presence is the heart of it. Pause there and drink in the clarity and freedom of being itself. See that all the thoughts and appearances come and go in this. Everything simply arises and sets in your being or innate presence. That presence remains as it is. Solid, present, profoundly cognizant, still and yet wonderfully alive and radiant. That is the point, to see this, know this, and be this. Even those words are too much, for you effortlessly are this. It is just a noticing of a simple fact that we may have overlooked. If we go back into the mind, searching for answers and trying to understand various pointers, that is only engaging the conceptual mind. So do not complicate the point of all this. The pointers are only to bring us to see this, our natural state. Once recognized, the pointers have done their job. The thoughts, I am the body or I am not the body, are both concepts coming and going in what you are. Neither is true, neither is false. Also, neither of these concepts is what you are. Clearly, those concepts will and do come and go, but you remain as you are. It is not so much that the body is a problem, for it is not. Like everything else, it is an appearance, meaning an appearance in awareness. From the position of simple aware presence, all appearances are at the same level. All appearances are in and of awareness itself. The thought, I am a body, is clearly a concept. That concept is not your abiding reality. To believe that thought means to trade in your non-conceptual nature for a mere concept. You are not a concept. The point is not to grasp that concept or identify that as yourself. Then you simply remain as you are, concept-free. All things, including the body, arise and pass in the clear light of being and knowing, like clouds passing through the sky. All is well.